Hello, I'm Lee McQueen, and I'm signing in again to comment on the 2016 primary race for president. And specifically, I wanted to sign in again to say that I do not believe that the Democrat Party is actually the party of or for progressives, and I'm going by history and then also current events um, as it reveals the treatment of Bernie Sanders. But not for decades, I don't believe, has the Democrat Party truly been the party for progressives. We can go back and see at the presidential candidate or even presidential level the treatment of progressives and then judge by what history tells us. We can look at John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy. We can look at Ted Kennedy. We can look at Gary Hart. We can look at Jesse Jackson, Jerry Brown. We can look at Bill Bradley. We can look at Howard Dean. These political candidates were not treated well, I would say, within their own parties. Ted Kennedy was a progressive who ran against Jimmy Carter. He brought the race to a floor fight at the convention, and that resulted in the creation of the superdelegates to guard against candidates like Ted Kennedy who were progressive. Gary Hart was humiliated for his personal indiscretions, and that resulted in him dropping out of the race for president. Um, Jesse Jackson ran as a progressive. He was smeared as being soft on crime, as an anti Semite, and he was race baited. And this was by his own party, which was the Democrat Party. Jerry Brown also ran as a progressive against Bill Clinton in 1992. He was race baited for even considering Jesse Jackson as his vice president. He made the mistake of saying that out loud. Bill Bradley ran as a progressive against Al Gore. No. Howard Dean ran as a progressive against John Kerry. No. Barack Obama ran as a progressive against Hillary Clinton. Uh, Barack Obama won mostly because Hillary Clinton wasn't a good candidate. Um, and she still isn't, but we'll get to that. It turns out that while Barack Obama did run as a progressive, once he attained high office, he actually governed center right. And so he ran as a progressive, but maybe he wasn't really a progressive or he changed his mind. Sanders is now running against Hillary Clinton as a progressive, and we can judge by history of what happened to the previous progressive Democrat candidates and how they were treated within the Democrat Party for some understanding of why Bernie Sanders is being treated the way he is by the Democrat Party, which is pretty harsh. He's being treated like an enemy, an interloper, a foreigner, someone who doesn't belong. Um, he's being treated like previous progressive candidates. Despite that, he's achieved quite a lot. Um, and again, he's been assisted by the fact that Hillary Clinton still is not a good politician. She is not a good candidate for president. She wasn't in 2008, and she's not in 2016. And that's only assisted Bernie Sanders. The history of progressives in the Democrat Party has been one of subjugation, subterfuge, and gaslighting. And we see that now playing before us with how the Democrat Party interacts with Bernie Sanders. Um, The Democrat Party is not the party for progressives. It has not been progressive in thought and action for some time now. The Green Party is the party of progressives and for progressives. So, depending on the outcome of the primary race and what the DNC decides and how they pretend or how they plan to act, some truths will become even more universally known and obvious. Bernie Sanders has gone far, far beyond what past progressive presidential candidates have achieved within the structure of the Democrat Party. There is still a chance that he will prevail where other progressives in recent history have not. There is a chance that he will become the Democrat nominee and that he will win the presidency this November. It depends on what the Democrat Party wants to be. Does it want to continue to be center right, or does it want to be progressive and forward thinking? Does it want to advance from past traditionalist establishment policies to the future? It depends on the Democrat Party. In the meantime, there are alternatives. The Green Party is one alternative with Jill Stein, who's running as the presidential candidate. And then also Gary Johnson of the Libertarian Party, who is the presidential candidate. And the Libertarian Party contrasts greatly with the Democrat and the Green Party, but there are some interesting overlaps with the Libertarian Party. Like the Green Party, and like Jill Stein of the Green Party, like Bernie Sanders of the Democrat Party, Gary Johnson is also against useless foreign military interventions concerning our troops and their lives. He's also against mass incarceration and the drug war. And he's also against negative trade agreements that send our jobs out of this nation to foreign countries and leave North Americans jobless. So on trade, and then on foreign interventions and the drug war, the Green Party, the Democrat Party under Bernie Sanders' leadership, and then the Libertarian Party are some interesting alternatives to establishment Democrat philosophy, which this year seems to be more trade agreements that negatively impact working Americans. The more foreign interventions, the better. And who cares about the drug war, because the private prison industry contributes to the campaigns. So depending on someone else's philosophy, what they want out of life and what they want the impact on their society to be, you can vote for establishment Democrats, you can vote for a new thinking Democrat and Bernie Sanders, or you can vote for third party. And I do want to mention here that it's very interesting to me that Donald Trump has mentioned he has also wanted to have more restraint when it comes to North America's interaction with foreign nations, especially in terms of defense spending, military engagement, and then trade agreements. I'm not clear on his stance on the drug war, but at least two of those, Donald Trump is to the left of Hillary Clinton on trade and then foreign interventions. And I find that very, very interesting. So far this race, the only major candidate out of the Democrat Party, um, who wants more war, more trade agreements, more fighting overseas is Hillary Clinton, whereas the other presidential candidates don't want that. She's standing on her own. And so I find that very interesting. Like I said, the Democrat Party has a twisted relationship with progressives. And the case may be that we have a far right party, uh, which is the Republicans, a center right party, which is the Democrat Party, and we actually have a left progressive party, which is the Green Party. And so I guess people will get in where they fit in. My personal philosophy is that I'm Bernie or bust, meaning that I will support Bernie Sanders with my vote and my time and my energy. If he is not the Democrat nominee, then my support goes to Jill Stein of the Green Party. And I believe that is actually the proper home of the progressives. I think the Democrat Party has abused progressives long enough, too long. And this has been going on for decades. If you Google those names that I threw out earlier, starting with John F. Kennedy, all the way up to Bernie Sanders, and looking at how progressives have been treated, the relationship to the Democrat Party is one of abuse. And when it comes to abuse, you do not stay with an abuser. You don't try to change the abuser. You leave the abuser.